my thing. So for those of y'all that are confused about it, go ahead and hit that like button. But I'm going to get into why we are talking today. It's very important. There was this recent pardon of this guy. You know, Joe Biden pardons people. He's the president, and we know that, right? So here's the thing. He pardoned a particular judge, and people seem to have a problem with it. So I'm going to bring this up for you guys.
Yeah, Scott, Lisa.
Hold on a second. Let me bring this on over here for you. Man, I'm going to need this dude to stop with the bikes today. This is a guy that be popping wheelies not too far from my house, so he'd be out there making noise. I mean, I respect it. It's fun. But still, I'm doing it live here. Anyway. All right, so guys, check this story out. If you don't know, there was a scheme some years ago called Cash for Kids. And it was basically some judges that were getting kickbacks for sentencing children to juvenile facilities because the facilities were privately owned. The private owners and the investors would pay the judges to send people there, keep the beds filled. We already know about that kind of stuff. We know it's a private prisons are a business. The only way to stay in business is to keep people in there. So somebody got to do it. Now, I don't mean that as a good thing. I'm just saying we understand that. We don't even have to have that debate. So check this out.
Scott, Lisa, former Judge Michael Conahan was at the heart of one of the country's biggest judicial corruption scandals. For his role, he was sentenced to serve more than 17 years behind bars.
17 years.
Now, his sentence was expected to end in August of 2026, but that has now changed due to the president's announcement. It's been 15 years since two Luzerne County judges were accused of taking kickbacks.
This is a sad story,
in exchange
by the way.
for sending kids to privately run juvenile detention centers in the scandal now known as Kids for Cash. Former Judge Mark Chivarella and Luzerne County's former President Judge Michael Conahan were accused of shutting down the Luzerne County-run juvenile detention center and accepting millions from the builder and co-owner of two for-profit detention centers. The scandal is believed to have...
You know what? How can you have a for-profit detention center? That just doesn't sound right to me. This is a for-profit business, so that means if there's nobody coming in here, it's bad business for us. We need people in order for this business to survive. And those people have to be convicted of a crime. And in this case, they have to be under a certain age. So in order to keep that business going, they had to keep them kids going in there. And this guy was getting millions of dollars in kickbacks from private companies to send our children, whether they deserve to be there or not, into these places solely for his own gain. Now that's sick right there. That's sick. Bro.
Have impacted the lives of more than 2,500 kids.
2,500 kids, man.
Whistleblower Hillary Transu, who we spoke with back in March in our Kids for Cash, the New Crisis series.
The kids that were affected by Chivarella, the people who were affected by him, they aren't mad because he took money. That's salt in the wound. What we're mad about is that he hurt us.
Back in 2010, Judge Michael Conahan pleaded guilty to a federal charge of racketeering conspiracy. He was sentenced to more than 17 years in prison. His sentence was scheduled to end in August of 2026 when he would be 74 years old. But now that's changed. As President Biden announced, Conahan is one of nearly 1,500 inmates to have their sentences commuted. Conahan has been on home confinement in Florida since 2020.
All right, so that last phrase right there, guy was already on home confinement. So he commuted the sentence. And here's the thing about commuted sentences and pardons. It's not just like a not guilty kind of thing or they just let you go early. It's like it never happened. So does this guy get to go back to being a judge? And if so, why would we allow that? Because I'm going to tell you right now, he'll probably get to do something like that or at least get a retirement pinch, something. He's going to get something out of that. He was already at home in Florida, so he was chilling anyway. He didn't really need the whole commuted sentence. He only had like 2 years left on it anyway. So anyway, let me let it play out here.
Over coronavirus concerns, All the recipients were on compassionate release during the COVID pandemic. According to the White House in a statement, these recipients have, quote, successfully reintegrated into their families and communities and have shown that they deserve a second chance. But more than a decade later, officials on every level of the juvenile justice system argue that Luzerne County and the entire region of northeastern Pennsylvania are still feeling the effects of the Kids for Cash scandal.
Yeah, that music
Since
is scary.
Conahan and Chivarella were sentenced, there's been an overhaul of Pennsylvania's juvenile justice system that has also led to the closure of more than a dozen facilities.
They had to close them down because they went out of business.
Lack of juvenile detention beds.
That's sad,
We
man.
spoke with Chadwick Libby, president of the PA Council Chief of Juvenile Probation Officers, back in March.
These are youth that are committing serious crimes, and now we have no beds, and they're going right back into the community and committing more crimes.
All right, guys. Well, I have to take a breath on that one because y'all know how I feel about the kids, man. I don't think you should be locking the kids up for profit. I mean, I'm sure there's some kids that should be locked up. I'm not taking that away from it, but let the business be organic. We already know. Like I said, I know somebody's gonna jump in the chat. Man, it's already been like that. Probably nice ass gonna jump in there and say it. Pause on the nice ass piece, but that's the name of the podcast. So, but nonetheless, let me see what we got here. Yeah, judges are elected, right? Well, somebody puts money behind these campaigns, and a lot of people, they can forget something in 20 years. They'll forget what happened, so to speak, and they'll elect this judge. They'll just see his name or whatever, and if nobody's loud enough, he can find a spot somewhere in one of them little small ass counties somewhere in a Commonwealth state,